Elderly drivers, they are all over the road. You show up to a red light and it turns green. You wait about 5 seconds and the car in front of you will not go. You have to give them a light honk and they still won't go. They cannot hear. They are an elderly person. You go to a crosswalk. You start crossing the street. They don't see you and they almost hit you. You go through a roundabout, they almost hit you. There are countless times where I have been in a situation that I have almost been hit by an elderly driver. Or I have been involved in near accidents because these elderly drivers' cognitive abilities are not up to par of younger drivers. In 2019, the FHWA estimates that there were 30 million elderly drivers on the road. Now that's an issue. That is a lot of drivers. That is about 11% of the world population, the United States population. And this leads to questioning whether these elderly drivers should have a license or not, or whether they should just have to retest or not. And that will be the main point of my speech. My main point is, or my topic would be, elderly drivers should have to retest every year to receive a license again. Now to start covering with my main points. My main point 1 will be privilege, the privilege of driving. Main point 2, medical issues. And main point 3 is going to be unsafe issues, unsafe roads. To begin with main point 1, to combat those who say my topic might run into ethical issues, it might run into violating rights of those drivers. No, this simply is not true. Each driver in the United States, all over the world in fact, can get a license so long as they can pass the test, so long as they can understand what is on those roads, what to do in situations. Same can be said for as a young, when you first start getting a license. You have to understand how to get on the road. You have to understand these rules. And the lying cause with that is these elderly drivers, in many cases, they don't even have to retest. In fact, every single person in the United States doesn't have to retest. They just have to renew their license. That's it. Unless you're applying for a CDL, different kinds of licenses, stuff like that. These drivers, these elderly drivers, take for instance in Arizona, I believe it's 56 years before a license expires. So, mine, when I had mine in Arizona when I was living there, it was, I think it expired in 2060 something. And that's a long time. Granted, that was when I turned about 63, I think. So I would have to renew my license, but I would not have to retest. Here in Idaho, I think you could go up to 4 years, maybe more, I'm not quite sure. But the fact of the matter is, you only have to renew. And simply stated, once you reach a certain age, likely retirement age is an ideal spot. But let's go with the 70 number, the age 70 number that FHWA reported on in 2019. These drivers should have to retest. They should have to be able to take that test again and understand what's on the road, even take a driving test. Second, main point 2, medical issues. Yes, medical issues lead to cognitive decline. They lead to slower reaction times, among many other topics that could be covered with medical issues among the elderly. And it's not their fault, and sometimes it comes from medications. But these elders are more likely, people above 70 are more likely to be taking medications, more likely to have cognitive disabilities that can affect their ability to drive. So this is another reason why elderly drivers need to be retested. They need to show that they can drive, show that they can understand what's on the road in front of them, with medical exemptions, with medical reasoning, while being on medication. And yeah, they need to retest for that reason. Main point 3 is the unsafe roads. I could count on my hand, or I can't even count on one hand, 2 hands even, the amount of times I've almost been in an accident due to an elderly driver and their reaction, their ability not to know what's going on around them. They can't see as well, they cannot hear as well, it all leads back to the cognitive decline that people get when they get older. No one wants to be on an unsafe road. No one wants to have to worry about whether or not they're going to get in an accident. And people already do worry about that, whether that's with people who drive daily and just drive recklessly and drive on the roads, or whether it's just a simple accident. The fact of the matter is that elderly drivers increase the amount of accidents on the road, and that is a bad thing. So to conclude, main point one was to cover let me see here, the privilege of driving and how I can combat that with those who say I'm violating rights. Main point two was the medical issues that involve elders. And main point three was the unsafe issues, the issues that people have worrying about those drivers, worrying about driving on the roads because of that. So elders must be held accountable. They must be aware of their surroundings, and they can't do that if their mind won't let them. Then they can't drive. It's just, they need to have someone who could drive for them, or they just it's sad to say, but they cannot be on the road because they will cause more issues. Thank you.